into the party wagon and hold on to your pizza. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Epic Tales from the Sewers. I am your host, Justin, here with my co-host, Mr. Eric Will. How you doing, Eric?
I'm doing fantastic, Justin. How about yourself there, sir?
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. We got a wonderful guest today, and we are just on the cusp of issue 5 for The Last Ronin. And with us today, we have a very talented artist who has worked on a lot of books from Dynamite Comics, including Red Sonja, Kato and the Green Hornet, Blood Ties, RoboCop, which I saw some of that, and that looked awesome. And also has worked on the backgrounds for the Ultimatum book with artist David Finch. Our guest today is Johnny Desjardins.
Yep, perfect.
Awesome. All right.
He was worried about the pronunciation, is what it was.
I am, and now I don't have to say it again. So
until the outro, that's about
it.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. When we say that. So, Johnny, thanks for joining us. It's
thanks for having me.
Wonderful to have you. I have to say the Last Ronin covers, the first one that really clicked with me was issue 1 that you did. And it just like, oh my God. And I had to have it. It was.
So you actually have one?
I do okay. Have one.
I don't have any.
Oh, you don't have any of them, huh?
It's funny enough, like I got somewhat prepared for the interview. So this is like cover 2. I know we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves.
Oh yeah, cover 2, absolutely.
2, 3, and 4 in front of me. And the first Turtle cover I ever did.
Beautiful. What issue was that?
This is 100.
Okay, that's what I thought. Man, that's so cool.
One
Beautiful.
Stop Comic Shop and Black Flag Comics. And the back is blank, which I love because then I can do like Sharpie sketches on it.
That's fantastic.
But yeah,
do you sell those at cons, like the 100?
I don't stock any books myself personally, so I don't really bring books, but I try to. Like I'll be at MegaCon in a couple of weeks now, right? Well, May 19th, I think it is. Mm-hmm. And I'll be at the One Stop Comic Shop booth, so there'll be books there. And also Hank from Bulletproof Comics, he's going to be there too, so I think he'll bring whatever he has.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, then maybe you'll get to see some more of that beautiful issue 1. I was
well, he sold out of issue 1, like that sold out really quickly, which I was very proud of.
The amount of detail that you put in this, I mean, like you can count the individual bricks in this, and like links of chain and things like that. So it's like just to the nerdy delights going through. I'm like, I bet you I could tell the thread count on his outfit, by just going through. It's so detailed.
Well, funny enough, maybe not funny enough, but just I spent about 4 weeks on these covers. So it's a very, very long amount of time I put into them. So yeah, I like to like detail a detail, you know what I mean? And at a certain point, it all just becomes mush to me because I'm sick and tired of looking at it. But cover 5 was the longest one to date. That was almost a solid like just month straight. So it took a lot out of me.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, it's interesting too. I had to ask where you get some of your ideas for this, because you have some very like ninja specific items on there, and like sometimes they have like throwing stars in their mouths, or they have like those iron claws for climbing, and you got some cool stuff on there.
Well, and again, that was Hank's idea for the star in the mouth, and I think that was an amazing idea. Like right when he said it, I was like, perfect. And also, here's the cover here. I'll hold up so we could reference it. And right when I thought about it too, because I send in a black and white comp before I go to color, as far as like the concept art. That's how it goes. I'll say, okay, this is the idea I got. Before they'll say yes or no, and I move to color, it saves time. So anyways, when he said the ninja star, I thought right away, okay, I'm going to use some crazy lighting, so it'll be great.
Yeah,
the bottom light, so you get the green in the bottom coming up, and then I'll research everything. I'll just research ninja weapons. His costume is his costume, but different sorts of pouches. And then I'll have like 50 different things, and I'll just keep picking from each one as I go.
That's really neat. I love the idea about the lighting too, because it does look like there's different times, like, oh, he's out here in sunrise, or he's out here in sundown. And you kind of pick up on that in the different covers where you're like, oh, this one looks pretty interesting. And you did in the second cover, you did have the kind of the ghosts on there, right? That was in the second or the third?
The first and second. Yeah.
Oh, the first two has it. Okay.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
again, that was like it was their request that because I wanted to have all the Ninja Turtles on the cover. Again, I'm a big Ninja Turtle fan. Maybe I should preface with this: like growing up as a kid, I was obsessed with Ninja Turtles. I had the
Nice.
backpacks, the toys, like you guys, everything. I'd watch the animated series. I wanted to meet the Ninja Turtles. I thought every sewer had Ninja Turtles in it. You know what I mean? Like, and I was obsessed
Okay,
with
go
it.
on. Let's go.
So,
You sound like us.
yeah, like again, so being able to actually draw these characters now is like, one of those dream come trues. So I try to think about all the inspiration of again the cartoons and stuff like that, and even like the first movie, the ending scenes and stuff. That's what goes on through my head. Um, the latest two, I'm not really a fan of. Well, I mean,
Oh,
in
the
some ways
Rise.
I
Yeah.
am. Like the newer live action films.
The Michael Bay
Oh,
movie.
Michael Bay. Okay.
But I
Yeah,
do
because
like
there's a
Michael
new
Bay.
cartoon
I do
too.
like Michael Bay. I'll put that out there. I know he gets a lot of flack, but I love Bad Boys. I love the movie Pain and Gain. I do love his movies.
Dude, I love Bad
So,
Boys. I would
Bad
I
Boys
would
are
stand up
awesome.
and fight for Bad. That last one that they did was excellent.
Mm.
I
You know,
didn't
just
see the last one.
oh,
That's
it's
the thing.
good. Oh, it's totally
Is it?
good. It's and Martin Lawrence is hilarious.
Yeah,
So
I love him. Yeah. Bad Boys 2 is like one of my all-time favorite movies. But
you
yeah,
know what
like
makes Bad Boys better is watching Hot Fuzz.
Hot Fuzz is great. My brother-in-law loves that movie, Hot Fuzz. He's always loved it. I don't really get it that much, but yeah.
Bad Boys for life.
Yeah. So yeah, I will say this about the last or the newer turtle movies. I think the design of the turtles and how unique it is to each one of their personalities
Mm-hmm.
was a great idea. I like Donatello, he's a tech guy. That's who I always associated myself with because I like to work on cars, I like to build things and fabricate. So I always like identified with Donatello. Even as a kid, he was, my favorite turtle. And yeah, I love the way he looked, and Michelangelo, he looked really cool. So we'll say I like that about the last couple movies.
So that's interesting. So that's usually one of the major criticisms that I hear about the Bay is that people don't like how they look. I kind of
Well,
agree with you because I think that they have to have some sort of aesthetic where it's like this is different, and they would be wearing scavenged items as clothing.
And like duct taped up and stuff. But I will say
Yeah.
that they were kind of big. I don't think
They were
should have
huge.
been that big.
Yeah.
And like
And bulletproof.
the beak looked off. You know what I mean? Like there was something odd about it.
I think that they did a good job on the voices, like the voice actors that they got for it. And I always go back to this one scene in the first movie where they're in the elevator and they're just making these doom, doom, doom,
Yeah,
I'm like,
if
if there's any scene in any Turtles movie that perfectly captures them as teenagers, it's right there. And I'm like, that is just, it was perfect.
Yep.
And they had great personalities and everything like that. I think it all meshed well, but it's just not for me.
Yeah.
Well, you also
the first movie is
Hit
perfect.
and miss.
Yeah.
You also get to play with Jenica on your cover there, because you had Jenica on there, which is super
that
cool.
one there. Yeah, and that was the first time I was really introduced to her. I like the claws and everything like that, and the arm wraps around her.
She's great, man. It's one of those things where it's hard to think, where it's like, oh, what would a fifth Ninja Turtle personality be? But they totally pull it off.
Yeah, but they did have that in that live action show. Wasn't her name Venus, correct?
And Venus is actually out as of issue 128 last month, I believe, or last week.
Okay, so yeah, I remember like racing home from school to catch that on TV because it was on at like 3 and school was out, so I'd get in like halfway between it.
I know exactly what you're saying. Yeah, I used to do the same, and I think for me it was I was catching the end of like their Darkwing Duck or something, but then Turtles would be on a little bit later.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, I love Darkwing Duck too. It's really cool.
I know, it's great, right? Do you watch the new DuckTales at all? That's the question.
No,
did you get to watch that?
No, I'm really out of the loop with anything going on.
Well, it's over. So it's
yeah.
The good news is there's 69 episodes. So if you want to get caught up, you can catch it on your leisure at Disney Plus has the whole series.
Oh, okay. Well,
it's really fun. There's some cool stuff. There's Gargoyles references in it. So it's got a lot of fun stuff.
Too. Yeah,
Gargoyles is awesome too. That would be a great crossover if they ever did that with the Turtles.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And they were on TV at the same time. They could have done it.
Literally, yeah, they could have. Yeah.
Is Metal Gear calling you? It's like that's what that sounds like.
Yeah, no, I should say it's my notification on the phone. I was a big fan of Metal Gear back in the
I
day.
imagine. Yeah, that's the Metal Gear radio, right, from the NES
Yep,
game.
yep.
That's pretty crazy.
Yep.
I used to have the remember the movie Crank?
Yeah,
Jason
yeah,
Statham?
yep.
The Crank
Yeah,
ringtone. That was my ringtone
Mhm.
for years until I just got too lazy. I forget. I don't know how to work the phone, like to change the ringtone. To be honest with you, I don't know. Like, you
Yeah.
download it, and I don't know what you do. So
You would build the phone, but you couldn't work it, right? That's what you're
yeah,
saying. You're not the
yeah,
software guy, you're the hardware guy.
exactly. I do not like computers at all. That's why I use oil paint. Okay, it's like the
Yeah,
most
that's what I
primitive
was going to
thing
ask you.
ever.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Oil is it can be unforgiving. So it's one of those things where it's like, you got to be really committed to it.
Well, watercolor is very unforgiving. Like I started using watercolor. Well, backing it all up, I started doing pencils. Like I've done interiors and covers penciled, and then as inking them, it was like a natural progression. And then I did the marker thing. I always wanted to paint, but it's very difficult, very frustrating. Moved into watercolor, then from watercolor to acrylic, and then acrylic to oils. I always wanted to get the oils, but I was just scared. There's so many mediums. Like right now, I'm working on an oil paint. That's why I got my stuff out. There's a painting over there that I'm in like the middle of. And yeah, it was just you got to know what how to prep the surface, how to clean the brushes. I didn't know any of that stuff, so learn the basics with the acrylics and then applied it to oils. Because once you understand like, light, shadow, color, you just apply it to anything. It's all the same rules.
Perspective, all that. Yeah.
It's all the same. It's just how to use it.
Well, I imagine you could make a wonderful cover with, like a napkin and a crayon.
There you go.
Yeah. So
no, but it is like ketchup and mustard. Like, you know what I mean? Like if you give a brush and ketchup and mustard, okay, you water it down, you use it like thin watercolor, thin acrylic, and then you build up the saturation in it. You can do it. I thought about doing it just for the hell of it, but I just haven't gotten around to it yet. Okay, so
that would be hilarious.
Yeah.
I want to see pictures of that.
I know it could definitely happen 100%.
What would be the ideal for that?
I got a good one.
Be a random thing when I'm out, really, But or wait, if you got an idea, what do you?
What's your idea?
Well, I was just going to say a ketchup bottle fighting a mustard bottle.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, I was gonna. Say,
you can go. You can go there. I mean,
I was gonna say Daredevil. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you could do the yellow suit or the red suit.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's true.
And
I would love to see a Daredevil cover. I saw on your website you have Wolverine on there. Is Wolverine one of your favorite characters as well, or?
Yeah, anything mean and angry and that's got an edge to it, I like. Now my website is very out of date. I'll say that right up front. I haven't updated it in maybe 5 years at this point. Like my Instagram or Facebook, because they're connected, would be the latest iterations of what I've been doing.
Yeah, and I noticed it must be out of date because it didn't have the Turtles covers on it and all that. So yeah. But still, it's like, so you've already had some success working with Dynamite. Are you still with them? Are you still like exclusive with Dynamite, or?
No. Like when I first got my cert, so I did work exclusively with them for a few years, and then I just went freelance. But I mean, like the cover I just did with Comic Tom that I posted, John Carter, it's Deja Thor's character, that was a Dynamite cover, and there's some other stuff that I can't announce yet that's already done that is waiting to come out.
Oh, cool. I was actually going to mention that because I know that Dynamite does the John Carter and Deja Taurus of Mars. I read the Thuvia of Mars. Like I was a big fan of that series, and I thought they were pretty darn faithful to it. And the art on the inside was really good. I'm like, wow, this really, like when you're reading this old Edgar Rice Burroughs novel, which no, I don't have that right next to me, but it's all theater of the mind. Did you ever see that Disney movie that came out a couple of years ago?
Which one?
The John Carter of Mars.
No, I didn't see it. I like the actor who played it. That guy.
Yeah, he was decent.
Gambit, right?
He did. Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, that was interesting.
I didn't get a chance to see it.
It's funny because he's gotten to be such a better actor from when he started out and like what was it? Friday Night Lights, and then he gets to John Carter, and then finally he gets to be on True Detective season 2 and all that. And you're like, that's the same guy. You're like, no way.
True Detective season 1 is one of my all-time favorite shows ever.
Oh my goodness, isn't it amazing?
Perfect show. Now I put that on repeat because again, it's only 10 episodes, I believe it is, right? So when I'm painting my covers, the show will be done before the cover is done, and then I just restart it, and it's on like a loop. I just zone out, and I just keep painting, and I just stay in that world.
Oh, man, I just remember the range of emotions that I went through, and then when you get to the ending and you have to go through like that maze and stuff that they're in, and I'm like, oh man, it's such an emotional journey.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's cool.
McConaughey and
Harrelson.
They got great chemistry. I love both of them as actors. And yeah, I recommend that to everybody who hasn't seen it. And anybody who has seen it is like instantly, oh man, amazing show.
Yeah, without a doubt, I like it better than Breaking Bad, and I know a lot of people disagree with me.
I love Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
That was another one of my top shows. Those are the kind of shows that, if you're asking what my favorite is, that's the type of thing. I love that genre. Sopranos was amazing too. I have very high expectations for shows, so that checks off all the boxes. And I like that really gritty type of stuff. Like I feel like my art is very gritty, and you know what I mean. So, yeah,
it's interesting too. So, and that kind of principle lends very well to something like Ultimatum or something like the Ronin. And have you read the story and all that too, going through?
I actually haven't. No, I've read.
It's super gritty, man.
Yeah, no. Funny
man.
enough, like I haven't had too much time, and until like the fifth one comes out, then I can just like absorb it all at once, because there's a gap in between each issue right now.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Just a little one.
Just a little bit, yeah. And it was supposed to be all done. What was it, back in 2021?
Yeah, they pushed it off this last time, and I mean, it's like they're really trying to put as many polishes on this thing as possible, because it's 48 pages, which is your double-sized format. And I mean, it's a bigger book too. It's magazine size.
Magazine size, yeah.
Oh, so it's like you're not reading your classic 22-page story with like advertisements and whatever you have in it. So you're getting like double and a half of what you get out of a normal book. So I can get it, and I'm glad that they didn't mess this up like they did with that book that came out a couple years ago. The Watchmen one, was it
Doomsday Clock?
Doomsday Clock, yes.
Yeah.
Because that was just like, when you read it, you're like, yeah, it's good, but I'm pissed off that I had to wait six months, so Gary Frank could finish. And Gary Frank's art is spot on. Amazing.
Oh yeah, beautiful. It is beautiful.
But it's just like, really? Why didn't they just wait and put this out like they did with Hush from Loeb and Jim Lee? So,
well, you want to keep that momentum rolling, right?
Exactly.
Like once you get everybody hot on it and stuff like that. But I know it's difficult, and I see from this end of the whole production of things, and however they want to do it, like in their definition of perfect and take more time. I respect that, so.
And we can wait as fans and all that. I mean, we've got the frenzy building, and it gives us more time to be able to find the covers, which has been a lot of fun. And
there's a lot of covers out there.
Oh yeah, there's what, 57 now.
I have no idea how many there is, but
there's 57 for issue 5. There's like almost 80 for issue 1.
Wow.
I actually know somebody that has every single cover.
I have a feeling we'll be interviewing him later this week too. That's who I think it is.
So does the issue 5 come out next week?
It's going to come out on the 27th. Yes.
So in hand, it will be on next Wednesday.
Next Wednesday. Yeah.
Okay. When this is aired, technically, right?
Okay. Yeah. Exactly.
Right on. I can't wait.
We'll be out before that. We want to generate that buzz so people can get in there at that last minute and order your issue 5 cover if they need to.
Hey, that's great. Yeah, check out Joel's Art Collectibles and of course Bulletproof Comics. I don't know what the stock content is right now. Like I don't know how many is left. So if there is some available, I'd highly recommend.
Joel's Art's great. We had him on the show. He admitted to us that his favorite pizza is actually a peanut butter flavored. So it's like peanut butter mixed with the tomato sauce, and then they have like veggies on top, like a Thai sort of thing.
He said that was his favorite pizza?
He did. He said that was his favorite pizza.
With peanut butter on it.
Peanut butter. Well, at the very least, peanut butter in it. So I think it's like a Thai infusion or something like that of pizza. So
call me old fashioned. but
Yeah.
I just like, the basics on like a normal pizza.
Flies,
Like,
stink
no
bugs.
peanut butter, no, yeah,
Oh, okay.
exactly. Yeah.
Flies. You like penicillin on your pizza?
Penicillin, yeah.
No.
No, I don't like anything. I don't want like chocolate or nothing outside of the realm of what should be on a pizza. That's very different though. If that's what Joel's likes, then that's what he likes on it, I guess.
So if you were to draw a pizza though, would you put something weird on it, or would you just leave it like how you like it?
Well, it depends on what the context is. Like I would definitely like to put like bugs on it and stuff like that, like maggots.
Yeah, I can see that. That's
Maggots
pretty.
can be juicy if you think about it. Remember the movie Spawn with John Leguizamo?
Eric is
Also
not
a
having any
maggot
of this.
like
I do
that.
remember Spawn, absolutely.
So,
No, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Would you put pineapple on your pizza?
Yeah, I like pineapple though. I don't know what the big thing with this pineapple. Wait, because
this meeting's over with. You can talk to Justin.
You don't like pineapple though, right?
I love it.
My son loves pineapple, but my wife likes pineapple, but she's like, pineapple on pizza is a crime. Now,
so you like pineapple by itself though?
Yeah,
it's delicious.
Okay. But it's when you combine it with the pizza is the problem.
I guess that's like peanut butter.
Yeah. I see. I'm a former chef. So I used to do pizzas in this one restaurant because we did brick oven. And one of the things they had this Tahula burger, which was it was like chicken sausage, but we made it into a burger. And then we put pineapple and barbecue sauce on it. And we also did that with their pizza with some red onions. And I mean, that's your thing. That's your thing. But me personally, I can't.
Yeah, I like it. I know it's very controversial whether you like it or not, but it's like I just think I like pizza. Like I eat a lot of fruit and I love fruits. I don't like pastries at all and stuff like that. So it gives it a nice kick to the pizza. Now I haven't been to New York yet, and I should be going there hopefully very soon for Bulletproof Comics. We're gonna do a signing. And I can't wait to go and meet everybody there. And I definitely got to try New York pizza. I've had true Chicago pizza, and personally, it's not for me. The really deep dish.
I could tell you as someone that's out here, I'm a transplant from New England out here in Chicago area, and deep dish is like, it's okay for a once in a while thing, but really that's what the tourists come here about. And most people from Chicago are like, yeah, no, you need to get this instead. And they have some now that's like really thin crust. I personally like the Detroit style myself, but
yes,
I like Detroit style is pretty damn good. Yeah,
okay, Detroit is like
that's my favorite
for me.
Yeah. Well, then decent pizza because the cheese goes all the way to the edge and it's like big and thick, and it reminds me of the stuff we used to get in like the cafeteria at like elementary school.
Mm-hmm.
My elementary school didn't have a cafeteria, so I can't relate with you. No.
Oh, okay.
No. I always was hoping, jealous that we didn't have that. High school, obviously, we had a cafeteria, but
mine had a Taco Bell in the high school. Yeah.
You had a Taco Bell in your high school?
We had Taco Bell.
In the high school?
In high school, like in the cafeteria, they had like a separate line that you can go to. They had 3 items: hard taco, soft taco, and bean and cheese burrito.
But it was actually like Taco Bell name.
Taco Bell quality too. It was spot on.
Wow. Well, we had a Taco Bell. Yeah,
I went to Southington, Connecticut. I don't know.
Is it a private school?
It was not. It is not. No. No, if you're a sports guy, let's see. We had Rob Dibble, the baseball player, and Carl Pavano, the baseball player. Both came out of our school, right down the street from ESPN. So
okay, I know nothing about sports. I know what ESPN is.
Okay, well, you know that. So yeah. I'm like, those guys drive nice cars. So
yeah. I don't know anything about sports, unfortunately.
I lived in the mountains. I'm from West Virginia. There was no such thing as Taco Bell in our cafeteria.
Yeah, you guys didn't even know what tacos were, right?
We trying to say, man.
Let alone pineapple on your pizza, right?
Well,
right.
We had a Taco Bell, but it was like across the street, and then it was like Taco Bell, Little Caesars, and like a couple other little spots.
Pizza.
Mm-hmm.
Pizza was down the street too. So
you guys actually have one? The closest I've seen those are in Canada.
Yeah, well, I'm in Canada.
Oh, okay. So yeah.
It
So
all
well,
makes
you
sense
said
now.
that makes perfect sense. All right.
Yeah. So I'm in Windsor, Ontario, which is
Oh,
right
okay.
across from Detroit. Like
Gotcha.
if you anywhere you're in Windsor, pretty much you can look across and see Detroit. So
Oh
like we
man.
would always, I'm actually going over to Michigan tomorrow. So I'll be dipping in there for a bit. And
Nice.
yeah, it's very close. It's like less than, I think it's probably about a quarter mile distance.
My favorite thing about
Wow.
Canada is stopping at the Tim Hortons wherever I find them, because you can get a
Mm.
coffee and a donut with a chicken salad sandwich, and you can't do that anywhere that is not Tim Hortons.
Really?
Yeah, nobody does a
I mean,
donut and a sandwich.
I
It's
normally
great.
just get a coffee from Tim Hortons, and personally, like again, I like coffee. I'm a huge coffee fan. The
Nice.
coffee doesn't taste like actual coffee. I mean, it's a weird, it's a unique taste. So, I mean, it's good because it really gets you wired, but I don't prefer the taste of it. I like
Our sponsors
Starbucks.
actually our sponsors actually a coffee company called Deadly Grounds Coffee. Maybe
Oh,
you'll run
okay.
into them at a con or something.
Yeah, no, that'd be awesome. Yeah, I drink a lot of coffee. McDonald's coffee, I think is really good.
I'm
I
with
don't
you.
know if it's the same with like how it is over there, like the blend wise, but I would take that over anything over here.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm with you. That's definitely fun. So you mentioned before that you were big onto the turtles growing up. So
Yeah.
Donnie's your favorite. You've
Yeah.
already said. What was your favorite thing that you had, or that you remember from being a kid in Ninja Turtles? Was it like you had the sheets, or you had like
Oh,
like what was your favorite thing?
oh, I had like everything. Yeah, I had the sheets, I had the decals. I had the turtle stuffed animal. Like I still have him. He's Donatello. He's missing an eye, and
Oh
like
wow.
you remember they're about 2 feet tall. They're like really well made. I mean, again, it lasted. Um, that thing was my pride and joy. I took him everywhere with me. Every time I went to a trip or went slept at my nana's house or something, he came with me. Um, and yeah, I had like the coat, I had the shoes. I was decked out with all the turtle gear.
Oh
So
wow. So yeah,
yeah,
you were all influenced. Was that part of your influence on getting into art? Was turtles that,
yeah,
or do you have like other
so
reasons?
Turtles was a huge one because when I was a kid in grade school, I would do my own comics, and at a certain point, I was even selling them at a local corner store, PJ's Variety, and yeah, I was, all I ever wanted to do was be a comic book artist, and I was for sure heavily inspired by the Turtles, and I made my own knockoff, characters of them and stuff like that, or I would just be drawing them all the time, and I didn't understand that you couldn't just take someone's characters and make your own book. But, I was kind of doing it anyways, and yeah, I was immersed in the world of it.
That's great. Yeah, I mean, we
Mhm.
all wish that, right? That we could just make our own fan fiction and things like that, and
Yeah.
just make them do what we want. Especially when there was like a good period of time where they weren't really doing the comics. So like Mirage comics were kind of there, and then they ended, and the Archie comics were there, and it ended, and
Mhm.
there was this long gap where it's like, well, what's going on?
Yeah.
And we've yet to really touch on that in the show. There's a couple different things like that Image Comics run for Urban Legends we'll get into eventually, Eric,
Mhm.
right? And then there was like the Tales of the TMNT, and
Mhm.
that's the kind of stuff where it's like I could see why making your own adventures at that point would absolutely be palatable,
Yeah.
especially if you got the talent to back it up. So
Well, I mean, that's questionable, at that point in time and stuff like that. And again, like I never consider myself a talented person at all. 100% not. What I am is an extremely hardworking, determined person because nothing in my art career has ever came easy. It's been a struggle the entire time. Um, again, it took me years to be able to get where I am painting. There's been a ton of studies that I continue to do to this day. And, the art is not where I want it to be right now. And, it's got a lot of room to go. So,
do you ever get any tips or pointers from Alex Ross from painting?
it's funny enough. So when I worked on uh, Silver Star, the series, he was tied to it. So things would get like sent to him. And a couple times there was some notes and stuff like that. So it was kind of cool to be that close to Alex. Again, he's an icon, love his work. Um, but No, I haven't had the chance to actually have a sit down with him yet.
Isn't it crazy? Like the level of separation,
Yeah.
because it's like as close as you are to the industry, there's still a huge gap between where you can get to someone like that.
Yeah, but that gap is that's like a mile long gap. And it's funny because sometimes I reflect and I think like, how far I've come and stuff. And then it's like how far to go. And you're right, like that next big step, it's a very long, big step to get into that sort of circle.
I
But
tell you though, Dynamite does some good stuff.
oh yeah.
It's the stuff that they take and the licenses that they have. Like they have a book that was Ash versus Freddy versus Jason. Or was it? I think they were doing Were they doing the Vampironica? Because
Vampirella.
I know they have Vampirella, but I wasn't sure if they were doing the Archie one where they had like Jughead,
Oh,
the Hunger, and
I'm not sure.
oh man, they had some neat stuff at some point. And I know you've worked on Jennifer Blood and RoboCop, man. Oh, that art was so cool.
The RoboCop cover that I did, that was my second
Dark Horse,
cover.
right?
No, that was for Dynamite.
It was done. Okay.
That was the second cover I ever did. The first one was for the Red Sonja series that I was working on at the time. And I had never done a published cover. And then he's like, oh, Nick Brucci asked, are you interested in doing a RoboCop cover? And I was like, oh, for sure. And I was so nervous because, again, everything was so new at that time. And I didn't know, how to make a nice looking concept. And I spent 5 days on that cover, which back then I thought was a long time, which is nothing compared to now. Like 5 days is like just warming up to a painting, And I'm very proud of that cover to this day. All the RoboCop ones I did 4 of them.
Did you keep them? Did you keep the original art?
No, I think I only have one left of them. Yeah, I don't keep any of the originals, so
it's good enough. You can make your own again if you want, right?
That too, yes. If I really wanted to, I mean, it probably wouldn't take 5 days, but it would take
Well, maybe now that you're in a different stage, you might paint it instead.
Yeah, but then I'll be looking at a month,
Yeah. Were you a big RoboCop fan? Were you a fan of the films?
Yeah. I used to watch RoboCop movies, and I thought he was such a cool character. It was also like, again, those movies are very gritty, and I think maybe
definitely
just being influenced from all those movies growing up is maybe where that shaped my art form from, because there was a lot of very gritty movies like that. And especially, I don't know which one it is when that little kid is like the leader of the gang. Which one is that?
I think that's the second one, actually.
And they got that drug, right? And
yep.
I mean, that one just
with Kane. Yeah.
Yep. That movie creeped me out so much.
That kid was terrible.
Scary. The whole situation was creepy. But yeah, RoboCop was awesome. And then Terminator. I didn't get a chance to do a Terminator cover. I tried to, and I asked if I could, because T2, another iconic movie. Love it. So yeah.
Well, that's the thing too. You're talking about like gritty comics. Frank Miller, who's known for his gritty comics, did the RoboCop versus Terminator series for Dark Horse, and that was so much better. It had no right being as good as it was. It was amazing. RoboCop, fighting Skynet and all that, and tries to figure out how to save humanity and go back in time. Insanely good. And I mean, this was incredibly gritty. And this is the guy that did Dark Knight Returns, the book that, is a really huge influence on The Last Ronin. So kind of like tie us all back in, all of those gritty notes kind of feed in quite nicely.
Yeah. Yeah. And also like going back a step too, from like what you're saying about, everything's tied and stuff. Kevin Eastman, he held up the original for that cover. I don't know. I forget why it became in his possession, and he shouted out my name. I posted the video. Yeah, and it was weird because it's like you were saying earlier, like, again, I grew up and he's a creator of it, also Peter. So, but the fact of like how full circle that came, that even though he just said my name, I mean, that's a huge deal. If I was a kid and he would have said my name, I would have been like through the moon. You know what I mean? So I can't wait to actually meet him and, chat for a bit.
That's so cool. Yeah, we've had him on the show, and Eric just met him last month, or was it earlier this month?
It was actually late last month. It was March 27th, And I'm gonna tell you, Kevin Eastman is, I mean, we already know that he's a legend. I
Yes.
mean, he's one of the co-creators of the Turtles. But man, he is just really, really nice. I mean, he's for the fans. I mean, my son brought something to him to the Comic Con and gave it to him, and he absolutely loved it, and he had a long line and he decided that he wanted to take pictures. So he took that time out, with my son and my wife to take a picture with them, as well as take a picture with all three of us too, as well. So, I mean, he is just, he'll go out his way to do something for his fans and for the people that just,
Yeah, it goes a long way. I mean, it's great, especially I know lines can be really long. The comic days, conventions can be long. So anytime you actually get, some actual time and stuff, it's great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You have any good stories from the road?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I had some good times and stuff like that. I love going to conventions. I love talking with people, and had a lot of great conventions.
What's the best one that's around you? Because I know over here there's C2E2, there's Wizard World. Like those are kind of the big ones by me. By Eric,
yeah.
You've got what, Cincinnati?
Yeah, you've done Cincinnati?
He's been there,
okay.
I'm sure.
Yeah, because
well, that's the whole thing. I was going to ask you. I'm sorry. I was going to ask you about that because me and my wife, we actually went up there, and I seen that you were up there.
Okay.
And I was going to go up there to meet you. Because,
okay.
I know Shredder was up there, but I was like, man, I got to go see him. And the sad part is that I had your issue 2 that Jozar gave to me.
Okay.
And I'm going to be honest with you. I loved it. I didn't want to give it up, but me being the person that I am, I like to help people out. Because some people were like trying to collect every single book, and he didn't have your book, so I was like, I'm going to give this to him, but I gave it to him before I even knew that you were going. But I didn't see you up there, and I'm just like, man, where like?
Oh, you're talking about 21 then?
Yes.
Cincinnati. Yeah, because I was supposed to be there, but the border wasn't open, so I couldn't.
Oh, okay.
So so I was so a good friend of mine, David Ray, who puts on the show. I love going to Cincinnati. That is one of my favorite times, going to conventions. Have a great time there. A lot of great people there. Love going. And I was so disappointed that I couldn't go because now it's been, I think it's 2 years that I haven't been there. And the last time that I was there was the last convention, I think, right before everything, Arkansas, and then, but again, when I was in Cincinnati.
That's a haul. Wow.
What's that?
Arkansas, that's a haul from Canada?
Yeah, it was 2 different planes, but you know what? It was great. I liked it. I like going to different places.
I imagine because they're probably a place that doesn't get like a huge amount of like good people like yourself in, so it's probably pretty cool.
It was cool, and they got some really good barbecue, so nice. I was happy about that. So and I want to go to so many different places. So it was a great experience. But I guess going back to your first question, Toronto Fan Expo convention would be the biggest in the area. Toronto, about 3 hours from where I am, and I was just there a couple weeks ago. I posted about it. Had an amazing time. That was maybe our first big event this year from the reopening.
Yeah, they're coming slow. It's like we just had a small one out here, and I ran into a couple creators, which is cool. Eric was just at Lexington where he got to meet Kevin Eastman and some of the others there. But it's great that stuff is getting better, so you can get back out and meet those people and get those like commissions. Are you doing like commissions and all that now?
Well, I haven't been taking any on right now just because I've been focusing with covers, and then when I am done covers and in between, there is stuff that like has been on my mind, ideas and concepts that I like to try and get out, because I do enjoy drawing. Like I love it. I have a true passion for it. I don't just want to draw like a robot. Okay, keep going. Like I want to put something new into it, some new fresh life. So in order to really do that, and to step back and reflect on the work, see what areas I should be working on, picking up, pushing. That's the only way to do it, is to say no, kind of pace myself. Unless if I'm at a show, then yeah, I'm drawing the whole time for sure. But again, at home, I do a lot of studies, like I was saying earlier, color studies. Been doing a new watercolor technique that I've been really frustratingly trying to nail down. So I'm always drawing.
That's cool. That's really cool. What do you do with this stuff when you're done with it? Do you sell it? Do you just catalog it? Like, what do you do with your leftovers?
Some stuff will never see the light of day. A lot of it gets burned.
Okay.
Or in the trash. And
Well, you said you were passionate. So
yeah, no, I also tear it up just in case for some reason the wind blows and it catches wind. Like, I don't want somebody seeing how terrible some of this stuff is. So that, or I'll sell, like if there's something available, I'll post online, available if you want to inbox and stuff like that.
we're like, hey, check this out. I was just goofing and I made a Darkwing Duck, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah, something like that. And then if there's a fan out there and they'll want it, then they'll hit me up and stuff like that. And then there's some that I do keep and I won't get rid of. Like behind me, right there, I think it would be. I don't have my glasses on, so I can't see the screen. But that's the first palette knife Joker that I ever did, which spawned the entire palette knife style that I became quite known for and pioneered. And then the ones to the side of it are the first couple successful new watercolor techniques that I came up with. And I don't keep these up there for any other reason than just for inspiration. When I'm done, laying on the couch, I watch TV. I just look at them and I try and put my mind space back to where I was at that time to keep going with the style. I know it's an odd concept, but
no, I get it, because you're talking about being in the right headspace, and I totally get it. Yeah. Okay. That's neat. And you're thinking, what was I thinking about when I was doing this? And
so stuff like that I'll most likely never sell, just because it brings me back every time. Those are the first ones that really something clicked. So
that's awesome. That's so cool to have like that insight into your process too. Like and for you to be like introspective like that, to look back and be like, hey, this is kind of what I need to snap me back to where I was. It's like in baseball or golf, how you lose your swing and then you've got to get it back like after the season. You're kind of getting that way with artwork.
Yeah, well, I got it down to the formula that works for me, and the studies is the most important for me. Like, I wish I was just independently wealthy and then I could just do a life of studies and just a pursuit that is never going to be able to be achieved because it doesn't exist. But like, just keep going down that road forever would be amazing. Which in some ways, I guess I'm doing that with each one now. But yeah,
that's cool. So going back to you as a kid, liking Ninja Turtles, liking comic books and all that. Who were the artists that really got your juices flowing, that made you really want to get into this?
For the longest time, honestly, I didn't know that, like, whose name was who. I'm talking about like at a very young age. Mm-hmm. It wasn't until like the first one that really stuck in my head was obviously Todd McFarlane, when Spawn was cooking and coming out and everything was, that was a big deal. And then Greg Capullo, because that's when I started buying Spawn books. And all the other comics that I had, like the covers would always get tore off right away. I was one of those people who, like, none of my old comics that I have covers.
Did you hang them up?
Oh my God. No, they're gone. I don't know. They got like ripped off, and like I don't take care of my comics well, Well,
take care of those that you have.
Yeah, these ones. Now I know how to do it. You know what I mean? Because I got a couple of 10.0s graded on the Turtles. So to get 10.0s, I'm taking quite good care of them at that point.
Good. Yeah, you're setting up a retirement account at this point.
Yeah, well, they went up on eBay. Well, at least one of them I know did. And, it's good to see. I'm very happy for anybody who flips and resells any of my work. I'll put that out there. So
I actually just saw one that was going for, I think it was number 2, and it was going for a couple grand. And I'm like, wow. All right.
Mine?
I thought so. Yeah.
Yeah. That was one of the 10.0s. It was, a little more than that or something.
Yeah.
The point is, it was great to see, because stuff like that, like, I don't know who it was, but I wanted to find out who it was and then send him a letter like, hey, congratulations.
That's cool. You're like, too bad I could have signed it.
Oh, it was signed.
Yeah.
Oh, it was okay.
Yes. One of them has a remark on it of Shredder. I think Hank from Bulletproof Comics might still have it. So if you're interested, hit up Hank at Bulletproof Comics.
Nice.
It's a 10.0. And I don't know what he did with it.
Man, that's something that you'd frame over the fireplace, I think. If it's a 10.0, that's beautiful.
Yes. Yeah.
And they really, really are gorgeous covers. So some of my absolute favorites. And I just love like the lighting on it. You know, it gives it that aspect of humanity where it's like, oh, you know, there's hope because the light's coming in, you know, from above, or there's despair because it's coming in from below or something, or even if I'm backwards on that. But yeah, I love that.
But that's the whole fun of it, the challenge of it, and the frustrating part with painting is it's unlimited the amount of lights you can use, the colors, how to manipulate the color, because you got to desaturate it, build it up to saturation. What color does it roll to? Warm, cool, warm, cool. What happens when you get, you know, a red light with a blue light and then a green light? What's the middle color going to look like? That's where like you just go cross-eyed. You're like, I don't know anymore. You know, like the painting that I'm working on over here, again, I'm using, you know, 4 different lights on the guy right now. And again, it's all the colors in between and the mixtures. That's where I go down the rabbit hole. And I want to spend as much time on that as possible, because it's an investment for the future. Once I get all this down better, you know, 10 years from now, it'll all very much pay off. So I'm looking at the long road of it. And then, like you said, though, you get that mood in the atmosphere. And how can you trigger this emotion? What colors would best be to trigger that? You know, like you can have a cool, warm light. Like you can have a cool red light, you know, manipulating all the colors around it. That's where the real guts of being a painter comes from. And I got to do a lot of studies, understanding light, how to manipulate, what colors go together, which pigments. I use a very small palette, like the same, maybe 10 colors for all my paintings, but it's how you mix them is what you're getting.
Oh, that's interesting. So you're not going like super deep with the color palette. So you're like a Bob Ross then.
It's going super deep with the manipulation of the colors. Mm-hmm. And that's, again, you know, you can make colors look a certain way just by surrounding them with different colors. So it's a little bit of like trickery almost.
That's awesome. Yeah. I like that. That's cool. I'm so glad to get the insight into the mind of a painter, because I don't think that we've talked to anyone that is completely a painter. And it's just such an interesting medium.
Well, and that's why painting, it's very frustrating. It's difficult. It takes time. Like you can't just wake up and be able to know all this knowledge. Like there's nobody who could be a 25-year-old, let's say, who has mastered all these abilities and just knows how to use all the different colors in the gamut. I mean, it takes years of experience and practice. And again, like you also have to have your figures down, your perspective down, I would say, even before you play around with paint, because you lose the whole underdrawing in the first hour of painting, and then you're moving around blind, you know,
kind of feeling it out.
Yeah. Like you lose it, you gain it, you lose it, you gain it. A lot of times I'll take pictures as I go, because I've learned that I'll totally lose the train where I was going. It'll start veering in a wrong direction. So I'll look back and go, oh, okay, you know, 3 days ago, that's where I meant to go. Now I've just lost 2 days to get back on track.
You got to go back to it. Yeah.
Yeah. And in between, that's why I say no to some covers that come in if I don't have time, because I just want a lot. And like on this cover here, number 4, it took me a week to do the background because I kept screwing up the way the clouds, composition of the clouds that are running behind them, and the color and the fade that I wanted to do. I got so frustrated. I took a picture, I pulled it into Procreate, and then I tried different combinations until I got it, readjusted, and went back at it.
Nice. So that's what I was going to ask too. Like, what's the scanning process like with oils? Like, is it
photograph it?
You just photograph and you can use it like from an HD, like a picture.
Yeah. So again, I'm not a techie guy, so I know I have a Canon Rebel. That's the camera I use. You have to set up the lights in a specific way to eliminate the glare. Sometimes you got to get creative and maybe hold like a piece of paper that'll eliminate just this little piece of glare that's coming in, and then get that, edit it in Photoshop. I don't try and edit the picture. I try to get as close to reality as possible. So I won't embellish things, so to speak.
Like, oh, there's a flare on this. It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Unless like one time I did it on a set of eyes because it's like, okay, I had to do it. So, is what it is.
So do you think that there's any way that you would tell some of those turtle like stories from when you were a kid, like now, if there was like a Turtles anthology book or something? Would you write a story and then draw it, do the interiors and such?
The stories back then weren't that complicated. I know that. It was like, the foot just come in through the ceiling and then they fight.
Yeah,
Yeah.
as you do.
I was like, yeah, you know what I mean? It was very again, I liked a lot of action, as I still do now. And
well, you said you watched the movie Crank, which is like 99% action.
Yeah. You see, like again, like it's odd, I would say, because I don't have a lot of patience in my life. I can't sit still long at all. I cannot sit still for more than 5 minutes, but I can sit here for a month and work on the same painting. But everywhere else in life, I can't. I'm like the guy from Crank who's just running and going and moving and all that stuff. So it's like an odd dichotomy. I don't know where it comes from.
That's interesting. Yeah, it's probably has something to do with like the inner motions of your mind, and like maybe it simulates all of that thinking is just
something's going on. I don't know what it is, but like I've never been able to read a novel in my life. I can't sit down and read a novel. I wish that I could. I start sitting there, I start reading, and all of a sudden I start thinking. Before you know it, I'm looking over here, and then I'm gone. I don't know. I'm just doing something.
You're a man of action. That's why.
Yeah, it must be. But like, I really wish I could just sit down with like a novel and get lost in the book. I don't think it's in me to be able to do.
Yeah, I mean, it's not necessary now because you can always do books on tape and stuff too. And if you're out running,
I do that. Yeah.
Then you can catch up on the classics.
Yeah. Well, I listen to audiobooks while I paint.
Oh, cool.
Stuff like that. So I love doing that, or like biographies and stuff like that, because I lose things to watch. Like I spend a lot of hours sitting right here, and I've got my favorite movies that I'll replay over and over again. But some days it's like I just need something new, because if I have a really good movie, I can sit down and focus far better. Like the new Batman movie came out like 2 days ago, right? Or something like that.
I think it's yesterday, actually, just came out on HBO.
Well, I bought it on YouTube. I buy all my movies on just YouTube. And again, like I was like, great. Now I have something that I could just zone out. I know I'm good for like almost 3 hours.
Yeah.
I'm good,
So what do you think of that new movie, by the way?
I really liked it. Yeah, it was my favorite's Batman Returns. I think that is a perfect movie.
Wow, perfect. Okay.
It's a beautiful movie. I watch it, especially around Christmas time.
It is a Christmas movie. That is absolutely true. Yeah.
And I was obsessed with that movie as a kid. I've probably seen that movie the most out of any other movie, next to Turtles 1, like the original movie. But Batman Returns, I mean, yeah, I just love so much about it. Tim Burton in that era too was just on point.
Do you have any paintings of anything from that movie? Like, did you make a Catwoman or a Batman or a Penguin or anything?
Like fan art wise?
Yeah, just maybe even for yourself.
Yeah, I must have. Like, I think the Catwoman suit in that again is just perfect. I love the white stitching. I love how again, if you really look, it's like it's pulling apart in some areas, like there's space.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Michelle Pfeiffer, perfect Catwoman too.
And you have a Scarface shirt on, so obviously you like Michelle Pfeiffer in the movie Scarface. So
I got the poster right there too, and he's on the back of it. Tony's on the back of the shirt, which I think is pretty cool. And that's another really good movie. The only problem I think with that movie, it just feels really dated. You
can't watch it on basic cable either. It's just. You're like, oh, you guys literally cut everything out of this film, and it's starting to not make sense. So
yeah, 100%. Yeah, I just watched it actually like last week. I really like it.
It'd be a good thing to break up, in between True Detective season 1 and then starting something else. So
it's a good buffer. Yeah,
I can see that.
My other go-to would be like Pulp Fiction. I got the poster right there.
Heck yeah,
Pulp Fiction.
Heck yeah.
And you know what I love about
Never
Pulp
seen it.
Fiction? I just like drop the little needle anywhere randomly in the movie, and I'll just watch it from there. I don't just start at the beginning. You can start at the end and then go to the middle and just jump around, and it still works. So,
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't the actor in there that was waiting for Zed? Wasn't he the Shredder in the Michael Bay movie from Pulp Fiction? Am I thinking this right? Like, didn't he end up playing the Shredder in that new?
Zed is dead. You're talking about he was also in The Mask.
Yeah, he was.
Right?
He was. Yeah, and Dark Knight Returns. I think I can never remember his name.
No, not Dark Knight Returns.
He was the bank manager, wasn't he?
No, that's the guy from.
Oh, that's the other guy. Okay, that's
the
the
other
guy
guy,
I'm thinking
yeah.
of. Yeah, I was thinking of that guy from Pulp Fiction.
Okay, yeah, no, that's the other guy. That's somebody else's brother. I don't know his name, but he's been in a ton of movies. I'm not good with names at all.
Yeah, I can't think of it. I didn't do any research on this, but I will tell you this. One of my all-time favorite actors is in Pulp Fiction, and it's not who you think. Samuel Jackson is number one for me, always will be, like one of the most versatile actors of all. But Frank Whaley, the guy who's eating the Kahuna burger, who stole the money and all that, and he's poking into the burger, and he's like, "Do you mind if I have a sip of that shake?" Say what again? That actor, one of my all-time favorite actors, Frank Whaley. I love him.
Oh, okay. Well, that's very obscure then. Yeah,
well, he's in some good stuff. Career Opportunities with Jennifer Connelly. If you ever seen that one, it's way back. It's a comedy. He's in some decent stuff. Some cool episodes of The Outer Limits. If you've ever caught that.
No, I remember the show, but I didn't get into it. I'm a big movie buff. I would say,
cool.
Like a good movie. I watch a ton of movies.
We were just talking about some movies. We were just talking about City of Industry in our last interview with an actor who was in that with Harvey Keitel. So
I don't remember that. Do you remember the movie called Go?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. That's another one of my favorite movies, and it's a lot like Pulp Fiction as well.
Underrated film, yeah.
Yeah, that's like a cult film right there, but it's amazing. I watch that movie all the time.
Yeah, Katie Holmes before she really hit it big, and yeah.
And
I think was Scott Wolf in that?
I'm not sure what's the name. The guy, the main guy, who ends up shooting her or whatever.
Oh, geez, now I want to look that up.
Olafante? Josh Olaf. No, what's his name? Oh, this is bad.
Josh Duhamel?
Not Josh Duhamel.
No, he's not in that. Let me see.
No. You'll know him. He's been in so many movies. He's extremely well known.
Have you seen this one, Eric?
We'll have to cut this part because this is going to be embarrassing.
No, we won't. We just let it ride. All right, so Go.
We let it ride.
Sarah Polley, I remember, was in that. Let me see. Yeah, it is Scott Wolf and Jay Moore.
Oh, Jay Moore. Yeah, he was in a bunch of movies. Suicide King.
Tay Diggs. Yeah, Suicide Kings was awesome. Tay Diggs.
I have, but it's been a long time.
Who's it? Yeah, Timothy Olyphante is
there
in
you
that.
go, Timothy Olyphante. Okay.
William Fichtner is who we were talking about. Yeah, that's the guy that we were talking about.
He played in the new Turtle movie. Yeah,
he was. Yeah, he was in that one, and
the Dark Knight.
Yeah, he was in the Dark Knight. So when you said Dark Knight, I immediately thought of the movie Go, because that was the first time I ever saw that guy, and it just sticks in your head. And then movies like Fight Club, again.
Oh man,
favorite movie.
I have seen Fight Club. It's like that, like the Limp Bizkit song says. I've seen it about 27 times. Yeah. I literally have. I legit have seen it that many times.
Yeah, I've seen Fight Club a ton because it's another movie that I could put on and I just zone out. It mellows me out, and I just get lost in it, and I just keep painting. I like long, slow movies like that. Gone Girl, who again is another Fincher movie. That's an amazing movie, and you could just start that at the beginning and get lost in the world of it.
Man, David Fincher. Yeah, he's
Seven, perfect movie right there. And so the new Batman movie really felt like Seven to me in a lot of ways.
I'm with you there because of the
grit. Yeah.
Yeah, it's more of a detective story. It's kind of like the video game. If you ever played the Arkham Knight video game series or anything like that, it's very similar to that. Like they really tailored it to the audience where they're like, hey, we want to get away from just whatever was going on in the Dark Knight, make something, and then get away from like Suicide Squad and Batman versus Superman and just make it like this.
Yeah, and the
I
other
think it
thing
was really successful.
I really like the fact that there was a lot of Batman on screen.
Oh,
Like
yes.
I don't want to see Bruce Wayne. I want to see Batman, and I want to see something going on. And that's the problem I had with the last two of the Nolan series. There's just not enough Batman. Yeah, you had Bruce Wayne. I thought the suit was terrible in the last two Nolan movies. Like he looked like he had a bobblehead, and
Yeah,
like
his
I like
head
the
and
thick
neck was
neck.
practical, but it was
Yeah,
like, yeah.
it's practical, but I don't care. Like Batman Returns, if you look up like still shots, Batman Returns is beautiful. He looks tough. It's menacing. It's perfect. The only thing I would say is that it never showed any damage on the suit.
Mhm.
And it would have been nice to just see some more scuffs like staying on the suit. You know what I mean? Like, why would it be so clean all the time? Like he'd be kneeling on rooftops and scuffing it. So like not so clean. That aside, great design. Yeah.
You're going to say something, Eric?
I was going to say Alfred probably cleaned it up.
Oh, yeah.
What's that?
He said that Alfred probably cleaned his suit.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
He buffed it out for him.
Well, I get it too, because it's like when you're watching Star Wars, right? And you see Darth Vader is always immaculate. He has to be. He's shiny, the black chrome almost,
that makes sense because he's like an emperor. He's like he's royalty. He would have somebody walking up and getting a scuff off his suit, right? It's not like he's not crawling around in the street.
No, yeah, definitely not.
On a rooftop. It'd be kind of cool to see it,
It would be, yeah. I mean, when he's fighting and whatever in let's see, probably Return of the Jedi, probably when he's the most damaged, but yeah. It'd be interesting and get some dirt on him. So that'd be cool too. I was actually just thinking about this too now with like some of that red lighting on a Darth Vader cover. That would kick ass. Like the way, like the soft.
I did a Sharpie because I like using Sharpies and whiteout again, depending on how everybody is familiar with my work. I really love doing that, and I did one of Darth Vader a few months ago, maybe, but I did it with the helmet off because that sickly look he has, and it's very disturbing and taunting, and I love it, And I wanted to show that more than the clean, shiny helmet,
Yeah.
So I love getting lost in all the details, and I did a painting actually as well on Bulletproof Comics live stream. I'll jump on there from time to time and do a live painting and stuff like that. And I did one again, Darth Vader with his helmet off with oils. And I love getting the sickly colors and the contrast and texture in there. So
how did you do that with oils if it was on a live stream? Did you just finish it up after the show?
No. I'm on there for a couple hours painting. Technically, if you go to Hank's or Bulletproof Comics Facebook page, I think they're all like archived on there. I don't know exactly which one it is. And if I am going to be on there, you'll advertise that I'll be on there. And yeah, within the couple hours, maybe 2.5 hours, I get it done. So it's a quicker painting compared to something else, but it also has a cool finish to it because it's an immediate finish. I like the direct brushwork of something like that. I respect all the different levels of paintings, not just highly refined, no brush strokes in sight. I like the choppy, chunky look too.
I'm with you because sometimes you can just look at something like a watercolor that's just like it's just a bust or anything like that, and it could just be kind of eerie or ethereal or just like, what, this is just a reminder of the character that I love. So that's why it's cool. And I don't care if it's got like there's an ink spot on it, if it's ink wash. It's like I like that,
Well, and the other thing, like when it comes to original art, and I think a lot of people would agree, but you like to see all the stains around on the covers and stuff like that, or the little notes, or maybe a sketch on the back. I know on a couple of my covers, there's sketches on the back where I didn't realize I did do a sketch, or the page just gets dirty from sliding around the desk. I love the way all that stuff looks.
They used to say that Frazetta, I think Frank Frazetta used to keep like the same palette and all that and the same easel. You can see this thing and it's got like 50 years worth of grime on it that he never changed. Every piece of paint that he ever used. It's really interesting.
Well, that's like this desk. I have no intentions of ever changing this desk. I want to just max this out. And it's really cool because Finch, working with him, his desk is so beaten up. And it's amazing because there's so many stories on that desk. So many amazing pieces of work have been done on that desk. Hopefully he never switches it out, gets rid of it. And you know, it's cool too. When I first started working with him, uh, he uses a parallel ruler. Um, I don't know, it's around here somewhere. And he gave me the ruler, you know, and I was like, oh, this is so cool because this ruler ruled out like so many of my favorite works of his from like Moon Knight and, you know, the Avengers series that he worked on and everything. And it's weird how, you know, you feel like it's got like some certain energy to it. You know
Oh
what I
yeah.
mean? It's like the desk, the same thing. So yeah, I'll never get rid of that ruler. I got it around here somewhere.
They're going to probably be dipping into his run on Moon Knight pretty soon for this new Marvel series. I know they're probably on the third or fourth episode at this point.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of it yet, but it looks cool.
It's action packed, I will tell you that.
Yeah.
So if you like Moon Knight and then you start watching it, it's deeply psychological and action packed, and it is like they are not pulling punches because it's on Disney Plus. It is definitely it's got some grit to it. Yeah, for sure.
I definitely want to check it out. Sometimes again, I go through like, you know, waves of stuff, and when I'm painting, I like to think about anything but comic characters.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So go from the furthest thing. That's why I watch a lot of car stuff, because like it takes you totally out of the headspace, and then I can be fresh. You know what I mean? So, but
and you could think about other stuff, like you're like, oh, I want to rebuild this manifold or something, or
yeah,
you know,
exactly. Yeah.
Like you painting the brakes the other day, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Is that what you do? Use oils on those?
Yeah, well, that's acrylic enamel, but yeah, you know, like again, like I was saying earlier, like I get a bit of a problem with ever posting anything about like my personal life. Like I want to try and open up just more about that, because it shows there is a person behind all the works that I post. I don't have a problem talking or communicating, but I don't know what it is that I just never talk or post anything that I do. And I had pictures so many times I was like, oh, I just want to post this, but I won't. But you know, I just post like my art stuff. But it's like, you gotta mix it up sometimes, and shows that like, okay, yeah, I have hobbies and interests outside of, you know, comic stuff and painting. Then I'm painting on cars, or you know what I mean? Like,
well, what are you working on for cars right now? Let's talk about that.
Well, the one that I have, like, I mean, I've had this car for several years, like, you know, over 10 years. It's a 76 Corvette, and like done all the work to it myself. Well, me and my dad actually repainted the entire car with him
Very nice.
last year. Like I shot it myself, again, rebuilt the engine, you name it. Like we've done everything to it. So, you know, we've always worked on cars. It's been like that since, you know, I was a teenager. So, you know, everybody needs a hobby. But again, we do everything in the house, every last thing. So,
did you ever paint on a car before, like those, like the airbrush, like a wizard, or like maybe something on the side of like a van?
No, I never did any of that. Like I remember trying airbrush, and I hate it. Like I think some of the art looks, you know, beautiful, especially on like the low riders and stuff, like Mr. Cartoon. You know who he is. Beautiful work. I can't do it, and it lacks the texture that I like. Like it's very smooth and soft.
Oh, I get that.
Like
yeah,
choppy, you know. Bro. So, but yeah, big car guy. So
that's awesome. That's what color is your Corvette?
It's black. It looked like the Batmobile. Well, it looks
oh, cool.
Like the Batmobile. So it's all blacked out, and then now just the calipers are red, and it's extremely loud. Like I welded the exhaust up for it myself and made the exhaust, and it's very, very loud.
So you're saying it's street legal, right?
Yeah. Around here, actually, you can get away with quite a bit. I know in certain states over there, like California, especially, like you can't do anything to your car.
No, you can't. Yeah,
that's crazy. Texas is another great spot. That's like a lot of the fastest cars are down in Texas.
Yeah, they got the room there, and surprisingly, Utah. You know, if you ever make it out to Utah to those salt flats, there's no speed limit. Yeah,
that's crazy. Well, there's a channel I follow, 1320 Racing. You guys ever heard of it? And they the content on there is amazing. I mean, these cars have like 2,000-3,000 horsepower, and they race on the freeways, and I like to watch it. So,
like, oh, the tires are melting and the brakes have welded.
Yeah, there's some pretty close calls, and the cars are amazing. I love the Viper as well. Dodge Viper, huge fan of that car.
Yeah, nice car. I don't recall what the new Batmobile was, but it was
So
pretty
the
cool
new
looking.
Batmobile, it was really cool. So in the movie, Bruce Wayne rolls up to the funeral and he's driving a Corvette in that one, which is really cool, split window, and 63 split window. And the car that they made for the Batmobile, it looks like an amalgamation of a few different cars. So it's like it makes sense about why it's in the movie, but I think they should get rid of that turbine engine
Yeah.
and replace it with, again, like a lot of cars you can have like the backfires and you'll have flames shoot out of your exhaust, which naturally will happen with the amount of gas that's going in the motor that's unburned, and it'll just light. Like you'll have that same afterburner effect. I think they could have used that in a cool way, because why would he have a gas engine and like a jet engine? That doesn't make sense. As a
No,
car guy
I'm with you.
looking at it, what I
Yeah.
mean? Or maybe anybody who's looking at it, like you would just have a jet engine. You wouldn't have both. It's not a
You
hybrid.
wouldn't have a jet engine for city driving either, because it would make you too heavy probably to make sharp turns if you need to.
Well, I would just say it's one or the other. Like it just doesn't make sense. And I think again, you could just evolve and adapt it. Like I know that the afterburner look is very Batmobile, but like if you evolved it, like I was saying, like with the backfires and shooting flames, like some cars, again, you rev them up and they just shoot flames out the back, would replace the afterburner.
Man, I remember I used to have a customer when I was working at a bank, and he was a race car driver slash jet pilot. And he told me that he loved to mess with the people at the race because they all knew he was a jet pilot. They thought he was putting jet fuel into the race car, right? Because when you do that, it spits out flames like a sumbitch, right? So what he did is he put some alcohol additives into his fuel so it would do the same thing. Then they actually stopped the race. They had to test everything. He was laughing his head off, and oh man, it was just the craziest circumstance. They're like, "Why did you do that? You wasted all of our time." They're like, "Yeah, I don't know. That's what jet pilots do."
I've been over there to the drag strip because over in Michigan they got a couple. Like here we don't have any, and it's a really fun time. But when I was younger, actually, I used to race go-karts when I was in grade school, and I wasn't very good at it, in all honesty. But it was also extremely dangerous because you got these kids. I was like, grade 4 or 5, and you got these go-karts, and they go like I think 30 miles an hour at the time. In the first turn, every single race was a massive accident because you got a bunch of kids, nobody knows how to drive, and you would just see a pileup of cars flying in the air.
Oh, geez.
Flipping over so many times, flip over and somebody run into you. It was awful. Or
like bubble cars.
Yeah, because there's no cage on it. It was all open. So if there was a cage, at least you would have some sort of protection. But every single race, it would be an accident. Somebody would run into you. I remember a cart ran up behind me, went right over it, and was like sitting on my head. I couldn't move. And when you're a kid, all those little accidents, they felt a lot worse than they were too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, I had a great time. It was fun. It was just, it was different.
I admit that does sound kind of fun, but it also sounds incredibly taxing.
Yeah.
If my kids were in that, I would probably be freaking out.
Well, it was like, again, there was rules, but no kid knew how to follow the rules. So, you were open wheel. So if you were winning the race, all of a sudden somebody would come next to you. They just touch wheels and you'd spin out or you'd flip and stuff like that. So,
or throw a blue shell at you if you're in the lead.
Yeah, exactly. Banana out the back.
Yeah, banana peel.
Yeah.
Watch out for the rainbow road there, kids.
Yeah.
Oh God, I hated that one.
We all hate that one, Eric.
That one took forever. I was really good at the kart racing, the Mario Kart one.
I know I've probably just a couple more questions, but I want to ask, is there any keepsake that you have now for the Turtles? Like, is there anything that you collect? Like, are you into the figures, the comics, anything? Like, obviously you have a couple of the comics, but is there something that you have now that is special to you about the Turtles?
Like as of I've recently bought? You're saying?
Well, it could be. I mean, I could tell you that like I went back like during lockdown and all that and bought all the Universal Monster Turtles because I always wanted them and I
Okay.
never had any. So, like I would probably answer like that or
No,
my Michael Dooney picture
like
that I have signed. Yeah.
like the stuff that I have from childhood and stuff like that, like I'll never get rid of. Like I still have the jean jacket I wore to grade school, although I let my nephew wear it to school, a couple of years ago until he outgrew it. Um,
Cool.
it's still in like excellent condition, so I'm holding on to that, for one day. And the turtle that I slept with and stuff, I'll never get rid of that because I mean, it's too iconic in my world.
You still got
I
Donnie then, huh?
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah. But no, I haven't bought anything as of late. I don't really collect too many things. I have a hard time collecting and then storing and putting stuff somewhere, And with all like the artwork and the art supplies, I only have so much to allocate. Like I collect art supplies more or less nowadays, I would say. Different paints. Like I in the same way, like, everybody needs a whole set. I need to have the whole set from a certain manufacturer, like Daniel Smith watercolor, and it gets very expensive. And then, like the paper. So watercolor paper itself is most expensive. It's like $100 for a pad, you know. So that's where most of my energy goes, and it's just tougher to get into other things right now. Because
That's cool.
I can only spend so much time painting, drawing, studying figures, staring at all my favorite artists' work, and then to also get figures, get comics, get other stuff. You know what I mean?
It's not an easy task, trust me.
No,
We say
it's
it all the
not. I
time. You
know
can't
it's
collect
difficult.
everything. You
No,
can't,
you
and
can't.
so I've got like a collection and that's it. I just leave it at that. Like I like Hellboy, I like Turtles, I like
Yeah.
Batman. Let's leave it at that.
Well, yeah, and again, like I think everybody could agree, the stories and the characters, how they shaped your childhood or how they shape you now. And you can pick up the book and it's like going and seeing your old friends, or you can watch the movie, you can get put back in that place you were. That to me is the priceless part of it. And I think we all get something in this industry that we can, go to our happy place and enjoy it. For me, sitting down and putting the first movie on or even the second one brings me right back. And it just, what they stood for, what they did in the industry, all that stuff. It's just beautiful.
That's so cool. I'm very much looking forward to getting that fifth cover because I think I've gotten all of yours so far.
Did you order it already?
I think so. I did.
The hesitation was there, so you should order a second one. Again.
Well, I can't remember because I definitely ordered from Jozar. So
you got to order one from Hank from Bulletproof Comics now, just so it's even.
I got to make sure that I do that after this.
Hopefully he's got some left. Again, I haven't asked. I didn't know that it was coming out next week. I can't wait because I can't wait to hold it. To me, as a creator, it's not real until it's printed. It gets posted around and stuff like that, which is cool. And I remember they used my that turtle one on one of those really big websites a couple of years ago. It was like not the Hollywood Reporter. I forget which one it was. I'll try and find it and send it to you after this for reference.
Oh, cool.
But seeing it pop up around the internet and stuff like that, it's very humbling feeling.
That's awesome.
And again, you reaching out and asking me to be on your show and stuff like that. I love talking and I love, meeting everybody.
Yeah, and it's cool too. We never know when we start these up, and we're going to obviously talk about like turtle stuff, but it's like, are we going to have a conversation about Pulp Fiction? We didn't know that.
Well,
that we were talking about.
I actually just started thinking about like, was I only supposed to talk about turtles here?
Because, no, definitely not.
We deviated quite a bit into like Scarface and all that other stuff. But
it's about like getting to know you as the artist, and the people who are going to be your fans are the people who are going to listen and be like, I love him. I love that he loves cars and all that. Let me see if like I can pick up some of his new work because maybe he's going to draw his Corvette in it or something. It's about that.
Yeah, well, again, that's why like I do want to open myself up more, just so again people do get to know you, because again, that connection. I love to meet everybody who has been following and stuff, and I can't wait to get to more conventions and meet people face to face. It's funny because I go Instagram live, and I've been doing this thing where I randomly pull someone on live to do FaceTime and just meet whoever randomly has been following and get to have a conversation.
Oh, that is cool.
So I'm planning to do more of that. I'm just stuck with gridlock of the covers right now.
Yeah,
so,
of course.
Yeah.
And it sounds like this new painting is so intense. So is that something that we'll be able to see down the road?
Oh yeah. It's for Hank over at Bulletproof Comics, and it'll probably be some time before it'll be posted up. So sometimes you do a cover and it won't come out for maybe 2-3 months. So for everybody watching and stuff like that. So you really, pace it out, sort of thing.
Do you have anything coming up that you can talk about? I should ask.
MegaCon, because I can't wait to go to MegaCon. I've got such an amazing wave of great responses of people that are going to be there that want to meet me and stuff like that. So, if anybody watching this, if you're going to be there, you got to swing by, say hello.
I bet Rob will be there. Rob will go say hi.
Yep. Who's Rob?
Our buddy Rob Denner. So he'll stop by. You probably already know him. Everybody knows Rob. Yeah.
I hope Rob will stop by too. Then technically, So yeah, that's about all I can plug because all the books that haven't come out yet. And then I've been doing a lot of great stuff with Comic Tom. If you guys are, I hope you're all familiar with him as well. It's a great guy, and his mystery mail call. It's a great setup. So I've been a part of that for the last few months as well. I don't think we have any turtle books going in there, or actually there might be. I don't know.
It all leads back to
I don't want to say if there is or if there isn't.
Yeah,
on Comic Tom. Okay. So yeah,
that works. That definitely works. Eric, did you have any questions? Anything maybe that I missed?
Oh no, no. Are you coming back to Cincinnati? Are you want to try to make it to Cincinnati this year?
Oh yeah, like this year I'll be in Cincinnati.
Okay.
As far as nothing else, who knows what's gonna happen? But no, I'll be in Cincinnati. I can't wait to go. The last time I was there, I was so exhausted that I couldn't even have thought of signing another book or a print or something like that. That's how jam-packed the weekend was. And for me to say I was so exhausted to even just do that, it speaks in volumes, because when I go to a convention, I'm there from 9:30 till it ends at about 6:30 or 7.
Yeah.
All weekend long. Yeah. So
it's exhausting. I can only imagine. But
yeah.
That concrete really starts to hurt your feet.
Yeah.
Oh well, yeah.
Have you ever thought about going to, what is it, Granny Night?
Where's that?
Granite?
Yeah, Granite. Granite. That's up. Where's that? Where's that at again?
Is that the one that's in New Hampshire?
I think so. The one in New Hampshire.
Granite City Comic Con?
Oh, okay. Again, now that more things are opening, hopefully I'll just get more invitations to do more shows, because at 2019 or whatever it was, there was quite a few that I was supposed to go to. So hopefully another one in Texas. Anybody that reaches out to me, I'm more than happy to come to the show.
I'm hoping we get you at C2E2 or Wizard World Chicago. So
I did both. I did C2E2, and I've done a Wizard convention as well. And I think they're owned by the Fan Expo Corp.
They are now, yeah. I think it just changed over too. So, and I know Aces one too. I don't know. Have you seen those yet? The Ace Comic Con?
No.
Yeah, I think that's the guy that used to run Wizard Magazine, and Wizard left and did his own thing, and now they're Ace.
Okay. Oh, okay. Well, that's cool.
Yeah, it's kind of fun.
I mean, Chicago is beautiful. It's amazing. I had a great time. I don't know how many times I was there, maybe 4 times or something like that. So I definitely like to go back to Chicago. It's not too far from where I am right now. It's about 4 hours.
Oh, it's not bad. Yeah.
No, it's not bad.
It's funny. It's funny. I'm about 1 hour away, and I'm like 40 miles from Chicago, and just with the traffic and all that, it's literally an hour to get there.
Yeah, well, that's like any big city. All of a sudden, you start hitting that gridlock and everything.
Oh yeah,
too, right. So, but
that's so much fun.
Yeah.
But, I wanted to ask. We'll have. Where do you want people to follow you on social media? You mentioned something about your Instagram.
Instagram would be the best place. I think that's where most people are at right now, anyways. But it seems like the Facebook, I don't know if it's dying out or something like that.
It sure seems like it, right?
It seems like it. There's, there's a big gap between my Facebook and Instagram. It doesn't make sense. For the longest time, they were tied. They were growing at the same rate. And then Instagram just keeps going in Facebook. I don't know what's up with that, but they're connected. So yeah, my Facebook, my Instagram, and I try and keep everybody up to date as much as possible with anything going on.
So don't check for new updates on the website, but Freehand Comics, even though it might be a good way to get a hold of you, not the way to check and see what your recent work is doing. So
yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, it's a way to get a hold of me. Yes, but yeah, I wonder if the emails still go to my phone. I don't know.
Yeah.
That too, actually.
That's interesting. Maybe a listener will try it. So we'll see what's going on.
Yeah,
but
try it out.
Look out for his cover of issue number 5, Last Ronin, which will be available on April 27th. And with that, we'll say goodbye for now, and we will come back in just a little bit with our pizza recipe. All right, guys. I want to thank you again,
everybody. I appreciate being on the show, and you guys enjoy it.
It's pizza time.
And now, in a segment that we call Pizza Time, where we discuss any Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle or pizza-related food, I give you Pizza Time.
Hey everyone, and welcome to Pizza Time. Today's pizza is called the Breakfast Pie, the ultimate breakfast or lunch or dinner of champions. Michelangelo likes to top this one off with a splash of hot sauce or a few squirts of ketchup. Ingredients: extra virgin olive oil for greasing, 4 slices thick cut bacon, chopped, 1 pound ball pizza dough, homemade or store-bought, 4 large eggs, 3/4 cup shredded sharp cheddar cheese, 1/4 cup heavy cream, fine salt and freshly ground pepper, 1 tablespoon finely chopped chives. Instructions: preheat the oven to 500 degrees Fahrenheit with a rack in the middle position. Lightly coat with a heavy-duty rimmed baking sheet with olive oil. Place the bacon in a medium skillet over medium heat and cook until it just begins to crisp, about 5 to 7 minutes. Remove the skillet from the heat and transfer the bacon to a paper towel-lined plate. Step 3. Stretch or roll the pizza dough onto a 12-inch disc and place it in the packaged baking sheet on the prepared baking sheet. Step 4. Crack the eggs into separate small prep bowls or ramekins. Step 5. Scatter the cheese over the dough, followed by the bacon. Step 6. Drizzle the cream evenly over top, then carefully slide the eggs onto the pizza, an inch or 2 inside the egg, evenly distributed. Just crack them open and put them on top. It's kind of sunny side up. Step 7. Season with salt and pepper. Step 8. Transfer the baking sheet into the oven and bake until the crust is golden. The egg whites are set and the yolks are still a little squishy, roughly about 10 to 15 minutes. Step 9. Remove the pizza from the oven. Let it rest for 5 minutes, then sprinkle with the chives. Slice and serve, dudes. Lighten it up, dudes. Use a whole wheat pizza dough recipe, or turkey or vegan bacon, low-fat cheese, or half and half instead of heavy cream. That's your pizza time for today, the breakfast pie. Cowabunga, dudes! Thank you for listening to the Epic Tales from the Sewers podcast. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles were created by Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird. This podcast has no affiliation with Eastman, Laird, Mirage Studios, IDW Studios, Archie Comics, or Nickelodeon Studios. This podcast is a member of the Dorkening Podcast Network. Check out thedorkening.com for other podcasts. Epic Tales from the Sewers is recorded by Justin Cooper and Eric Will.
Hi, this is Adam, a.k.a. Casey Jones from Casey Jones Livewire, and you're listening to Epic Tales from the Sewers. Time for a knuckle sandwich, punk.
Everyone thinks because you're a zombie, you don't know good coffee. Well, they're wrong. We have very active lifestyles. It's not all wandering the countryside aimlessly or scaring passing motorists. And we all love a good cup of joe. And there's only one brew that gets my seal of approval. Deadly Grounds coffee is my guilty pleasure. Bold, robust, delicious. It's coffee that can wake the dead. With over a dozen different roasts and flavors, Deadly Grounds can satisfy the most finicky of coffee addicts. The aroma is so intoxicating. It brings all of my neighbors out of the woodwork. Deadly Grounds coffee. Coffee to die for and zombie approved. It's good to get a little deadly. so disgusting.
Greetings! We are the Retro Reductopus Cephala Podcast, a bi-weekly show that celebrates all the things that made growing up awesome.
He's right. We wax philosophic about lots of geeky crap like old video games and movies, toys, cartoons. I don't know, help me out here.
Music, pants, quoting video games that don't have dialogues, shabibans, tasty news,
Unnecessarily long Japanese onomatopoeia.
butt breathers, uncomfortable nature facts.
or how to install a thermoflange. And unlike all those other podcasts, we at Retro Reductopus have an exciting rotating host schedule.
Do we? We sure do.
So, if you didn't like the guy flapping his gums this week,
Like me.
worry not, gentle listener. Next week we'll have a whole new host.
Of problems.
Hey, they might still suck, but they'll suck differently.
And you know what's really cool? Retro Reductopus is part of the Dorkening and Inebriar podcast networks, with new episodes every Tentacle Tuesday.
Which is like every other Tuesday. We named it.
Anyways, you can listen to us at iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher,
Or any podcast player cool enough to carry the only show that celebrates all things that make growing up awesome.